Hello, this is Yaro Starak, and welcome to this special EJ Insider presentation of how to write a sales page. This tutorial is going to teach you all the elements you need to include in your sales page, the page you present to people as pretty much the final step in the process leading up to the sale of your product or service. This is the page that details all the features, the benefits, the description, pictures, and so on of the products they can buy from you. They then click the buy button, go through the checkout, and they've made the purchase. If you are to have a profitable online business, there's no getting around this requirement. You need effective sales pages to sell your products and services. Todd Brown is a key mentor for me in the area of sales funnels. In every presentation I've ever studied from him, he always begins with a powerful statement. He says that entrepreneurs underestimate the amount of effort that's required in order to convert a sale. We underestimate how much effort it takes to get a person to remove money from their wallet and buy from us, or of course, in the case of the internet, to take out their credit card or use their PayPal account to purchase our virtual products and services. The reason why we put so much effort into producing these sales pages is we have to get over this significant resistance people have to spending money. People do not like to spend money. Yes, they like to buy things, but the actual act of spending their money is not pleasant. That's why we need to use so much information and so much lead up information to convince a person that we have something of value that justifies making the purchase. And unfortunately, most entrepreneurs underestimate how big a task that is. That's why you're going to see in this tutorial, we cover a lot of different topics, a lot of different elements that you need to include in your sales page. Now, what you're going to see is a proven selling formula for coming up with a sales page in this tutorial. It's not something I invented. It's actually been something that's been around for literally decades because it's from the world of copywriting, direct response copywriting. So these are formulas, these are elements that writers have been using in sales pages long before the internet was around, back when we used to send direct mail. Also in magazines, newspapers, journals, any place where the written word was used to sell products and services, these concepts came from, and they've been around for a long time. A lot of very smart, very effective copywriters, salespeople have come up with these initial concepts, and of course they're being applied just as well with online media, and we're going to use them in the creation of our sales page. So you're about to learn this proven selling formula. Ultimately, what I'm giving you here is a 16-point paint by numbers sales letter. So I'm going to give you the how-to step-by-step of these 16 points that you should ideally aim to include in every sales page you write. Now, there's a lot there to cover. I realize that, and I know from experience how much effort is required to put together these sales pages, but I can tell you it makes a difference. So I'm going to give you all these key points which you can then apply to write your own blog post sales letter. So the ultimate goal of this tutorial is for you to be able to walk away and produce a sales letter. Now, I call it a blog post sales letter because since you are a person who has a blog and you understand what it takes to publish content through blogging, creating a sales page using a blog platform like WordPress is, I believe, the easiest way to do so. You can effectively just write a blog post, a somewhat long blog post, given you're covering these 16 points, but at the end of doing that, you will have a sales page, a blog post that you can send people to where they can buy your products and services. And I've actually been testing that myself with my most recent products by using blog posts as the sales page rather than creating some kind of standalone HTML page that's not actually run by the blog. So basically, you're doing what you already do, using your blog, writing a post, and that post will be your sales page. So by the end of this tutorial, you'll know how to do that. Now, I want you for a moment to step into the shoes of your potential customer. They don't know you, they've never bought from you before, so there's an element of distrust. It's a big step for them to make this first purchase from you. They may not believe your product will actually do what it's supposed to do. Maybe they don't believe that the product will even get to them. Or they might have concerns that if they try and get a refund from you, it'll be difficult to get in touch with you or go through your customer service. Or maybe they just don't trust you as a person. They haven't developed enough of a relationship yet. So ultimately, all these points of skepticism, of distrust, are what they're coming up against in that initial purchase experience with you. There's no getting around this. There will always be an element of that, even when you've done a great job establishing your personal brand, creating a blog, a podcast, video, social media, giving information, helping people before you ask them to buy from you. All the things that I teach inside Blog Mastermind and really is at the heart and essence of the system I teach to run an online business, all of that is designed to elevate the amount of trust. But no matter how good a job you do of that, when the person's about to make that first purchase from you, they have to climb over some element of hesitation, some element of distrust in you and your business. And that's why we need to put this final extra effort to deliver a powerful sales page, to get over that final bit of resistance, that distrust. There are two big sale killers that you need to look out for when crafting your sales page. Number one is that your potential customer doesn't see a good enough reason to buy. If they don't see the benefits that they're looking for listed in the sales page about your product, then they're going to instead walk away and look for an alternative solution. If they don't see an emotional connection to the benefits that your product represents, they're not going to buy. Or two, your sales page has not dealt with a particular rejection point that's causing them to not buy. So this is kind of like the opposite of a benefit. Rather than not seeing what they want, they're still fearing something that you haven't eliminated. They might be afraid that your product is perhaps too expensive and you haven't justified the price. Maybe they're concerned the product doesn't match their unique situation. Maybe they're just worried about whether they have a refund period they can take advantage of, so it will protect them. There's all kinds of rejection points that will stop a person from buying. So you need to make sure your sales page includes both the benefits and also the right statements to remove the rejections. So that's what we're doing with a sales page. Welcome to step 1 of the 16 steps, the 16 elements you need to include in your sales page. I suggest you go through these and then write content for each of the concepts and then compile it all into the blog post and you'll have a great sales page. However, don't feel you need to stick to this too rigidly. You can swap elements around. You can even leave certain steps out if you don't have the resources yet to put together something for every step. In fact, I'd rather see you go out there with an active sales page than hold yourself back because you don't have something for every single step. In my experience, though, if you cover every single point of the 16 steps, then you're giving yourself the best chance to highlight all the benefits, eliminate all the rejections, and just reach as many people with whatever point they're looking for. So you have the best chance of answering their question, whatever's going on in their head, and connecting with them emotionally if you cover all of these 16 points. So the first point that all sales pages must begin with is the headline. Also, a subheadline is something that's often included, and often there's a pre-headline too. So you might have a pre-headline, then a headline, then a subheadline. But just a headline is good enough to start with, for sure. Now, you already have experience with headline writing because you have to write them for your blog posts. And we also spend a lot of time working on email opt-in form headlines inside the EJ Insider community. So you know what it takes to come up with these really powerful, benefit-driven headlines. In this case, you have to do the same thing to open up your sales page. This is the first element that has to speak to the core reason your product exists, the core pain point that your product helps eliminate. If you're not familiar with all this, go back to the tutorial presentation you get as part of the EJ Insider about coming up with your first offer. I cover the elements to include in a headline inside that presentation. And in fact, this is one of the areas where you'll probably spend the most time coming up with ideas and also eventually split testing, trying one headline against another to see which one performs better. Step 2 is to begin introducing the problem. This is when you start telling a story. So I use the phrase once upon a time just to remind you that this sales page should not just be factual information. This is your chance to tell a story, to engage, and get people to pay attention and follow through with all the more factual information that will come later in the sales page. So I suggest you start the story by introducing a character, whether that's you, if the story is about you and you having this problem, or perhaps someone else. Maybe it was a client you've dealt with. Maybe it's some sort of amalgamation with all the clients you've had to deal with over the years, the customers, the people you've helped. Or it could even be someone well known who has a history of this problem, and you can use them as the introduction, the start of your story. And the important point here is you're starting with the problem, because you need to make sure that this resonates with the reason why a person came to this sales page. They have a problem, they're looking to buy your product to solve it. So the first thing you have to acknowledge is the fact that this problem is real. Step 3 is through the story is to emphasize the negative effects of having the problem. You want to really hit the pain points and hit all the pain points, because when someone has a problem, they're having an emotional outcome, they might be having physical problems, they might be having situations they experience in their life they don't want, they might be thinking about things in a certain way. All the psychology, all the impact of this problem, you need to then explain it through the storytelling. So really, this is just one big narrative that you're starting. It's very much like a blog post. That's why I love writing these sales pages as blog posts, because you get to tell a story to start the introduction of your product. So move from problem to then explaining the effects of the problem. And then in step 4, you introduce the breakthrough. So this is the recovery. This is the solving of the problem that also leads to a powerful lesson and the conclusion of the story. So you might see this as a 3-part story. First, a person has this problem. Second, they suffer from it. They have all these negative effects, but then they have a breakthrough and they find a way to solve the problem. You may even explain different things they did first that didn't solve the problem. That's very common. But then ultimately, after their 4th or 5th attempt at doing something different, they came up with the breakthrough. So this is you. If, for example, you recovered from acne, you would say, if it's your story, you had acne, then you would talk about all the negative effects and how it impacted your life. Then you would talk about all the things you tried to cure your acne and solve your acne. And then finally you found this combination of eating and maybe some sort of facial cream, something like that. That is your product. Ultimately, the breakthrough has to connect to the product you sell. So you introduce the breakthrough, but you also educate people. This is important because the sales page is not just, again, factual information about a product. It's a story that engages and also will help the person. They need to see that you're providing not just the solution to a problem, but you've got the background and you've demonstrated it through this lesson you're giving them at the start of the sales page. So it's a nice way to just grab that attention and make sure they're not turned off because all they're seeing are prices and product descriptions when they first land on a page. Much more engaging this way. So once the story ends, the natural connection in step 5 is to tell them that there is hope and it's not their fault. They can actually solve this problem as well. So what you're doing now is turning that story to be about them. You're pointing the lens at them and saying, this is a situation you can change. It's not your fault. You're in this situation. As you can see, other people have been in this situation too. You could say you were in that situation, or if it was your client, you could see your client was in that situation. But then they solved this problem. There is a way out. There is hope, which connects beautifully with step 6, the actual introduction of your product, which is your solution packaged up into something they can purchase. So this is really all the start of the sales page. It's all about a headline, then telling a story, and then saying that this story is actually representation of how their life could change, and then saying, here's the product that gives you the solution. This is the chance for you to also have this story, this breakthrough, this recovery, this solving of the problem. And then when you reach this point of actually introducing the product, this is when you get a bit more factual. This is when you list out the components of the product. If it's a teaching product, you list out the modules. If it's a physical product, you say what comes in the package. If it's a service, you talk about what the service actually is. Now you're listing things like pictures of the product, descriptions of the product, and I also recommend highly some kind of benefit list of each component. So if there's 6 modules in a course, list the individual benefits of each modules. And of course, you can see my sales pages and how I do that if you want an example of introducing a product. Step 7 then, following the product, are testimonials from people who've ideally used the product and gotten specific and tangible results. The best thing you can do is have a third party say, I used your product and this is how my life changed. I made this much money. I lost this much weight. I no longer have acne. Whatever it is you help them do, when they say something specific because of what you offered in the product, that's powerful. So you want as many of these relevant and specific tangible testimonials as you have. If you don't have ones relevant about a product, because maybe it's a new product and no one's used it yet, try and get at least some testimonials on you, on your previous products, you as a business owner. Find something where someone has said you've done good work, because that refers to your product as well. Step 8 is to have what I call a master bullet benefit list. This is a list of, again, specific and tangible benefits that a person will experience as a result of using your product. Now, this is really a situation where you have to sit down and brainstorm as many possible good things that can happen to a person as a result of using your product. So when I talked about putting benefits for each of the elements of the product description, that might be 3 to 4 bullet points to describe each module or each component of the product. This is a master benefit bullet list. This might be 10, 20, 30, 40 bullets talking about all the ways a person's life can change as a result of using your product, both small things and big things. Try and cover every possible problem a person has and the fact that your product can actually solve it. And again, specific and tangible. You don't want to say this will make you feel better. You want to say you will lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days, or you will be able to leave your house without having the fear of having a pimply face ever again. Try and look at numbers, specific situations, tangible experiences that a person can connect with, and write down as many as you can. This is an area where there's no such thing as not having enough. There's always more benefits you can hit on. And it's great when you have a chance to speak to your audience and discover what they're personally going through, because you can hit those unique problems with these benefits. That's where you get that insight into where they're coming from. By this point, you should have a person pretty much ready to purchase your product. It's a great time to present a buy button as well if you haven't presented one already. However, if they're not quite over the line, the next step is to present something of significant value in a bonus or several bonuses. Bonuses are complimentary must-have additions to the package you're selling, but they shouldn't make the core product itself look like it's lacking. You don't want the bonus to sort of fill a gap that the product is missing. The product is standalone value, it's complete, it's brilliant. The bonus is something that you can add to the package and say, this will be done for you, or this will help you do this next step. It's some sort of complementary, significant value, but doesn't make the core product look inferior. In fact, I recommend you have at least 2 bonuses because it's a great way to get someone over the line and buy your product. Often it is the point where they go, I want this bonus so much, plus I'm getting the great product, now I'm ready to buy. Step 10 is to reiterate who this product is for and also who is it not for. So at this point, it's just a case of realigning the prospect and making sure they see that they are the right person for this. And by also pointing out who it's not for, it helps make the person who this is right for feel it's even more appropriate, because they will go, well, I'm not like the not right for person, so I definitely am the right person for this product. And that can just give them the sense that they actually are buying the solution that's designed specifically for them. It's not for a general audience. It's for this person with this unique problem, this unique set of circumstances, and that will get them over the line. Again, step 11, this is a great chance to present your endorsements. I call them endorsements. You might call them round 2 testimonials. I like to use things like my celeb testimonials. So these are other experts or other well-known people from my industry who I've worked with, or who I can get a testimonial from. It's also a great place to present any awards you've won or any press coverage you've had. This is enhancing your credibility, enhancing your authority as an expert in your field. And it's a really important point. In my experience today, in particular with the internet, the more testimonials, whether from customers and clients and also from celebrities, as well as awards and press coverage, all builds that trust. Remember, we're trying to get over the line with people not trusting that we're a credible solution and not wanting to buy from us. So these sorts of things really help to do that. Step 12 is to then start calling for the purchase. It's often called a call to action. I'm going to call it a call to purchase because that's what it is. You're saying click this buy button to buy the product. At this point, since this is probably the first major call to purchase you're going to make, it's good to actually narrate the before and after. And what I mean by that is explain what happens where they are now. So they're looking at this page, they're about to click a button, they still have the problem. So explain that you're still suffering from this problem, but when you click this buy button and then you buy the product, log into the members area, download it, go through the modules, implement the steps, this is how your life will change. And I want you to be that specific. I want you to pretend you're trying to teach a child how to buy your product and what's going to happen as they go through this purchase process and as they use the product. It doesn't have to be a huge section, but at least clarify that they're going to need to click a button, fill out their credit card details, and they're going to get an email with a member login. They'll then be able to see all the modules or all the components of the product. They'll then play the video, study the materials, implement the action plans, and then their life will change in this way. That's step 12. Step 13, present the guarantee. This is called a risk reversal. Now, a guarantee should by minimum be a 30-day refund policy. That's pretty much standard now on the internet. You might want to do 60 days, you might want to do 90 days. It's really up to you. Obviously, the bigger the guarantee, the better a risk reversal. My advice to you, though, is to find a way to go beyond the standard 30-day guarantee. A risk reversal is called a risk reversal because you're trying to remove any sense of risk of them losing their money or not getting a result, and you taking on that risk yourself. That's what the reversal aspect of this is. So what you want to do in this section is pretty much guarantee they're going to get what they came for. So think about what's the ultimate goal of this product. If you would say if they have acne, the ultimate goal is to have clear skin. So the kind of guarantee you might make is to say you have a 30-day refund period on this product, and if you use the product and it still doesn't give you clear skin, I'm going to get on a phone call with you and we're going to find out exactly what's causing your acne and give you the exact steps to cure it. And that's the kind of risk reversal that makes them feel like buying your product and beginning this relationship with you is a guarantee that they're going to get their result. And that's going to bring them over the line to buy your product. Step 14. By this stage, you've got a pretty long sales page. And if they've reached this point, they've hit a lot of information. They might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. They might have actually forgotten what's inside the products. And because you've talked about things like bonuses and any extras, this is a great opportunity for you to recap what's exactly in the package and then, of course, have another call to purchase, another buy button. What I like to do in this part is to include a graphical representation to make the product look more tangible, especially when it comes to digital products, online courses, online training programs. It's great to sort of have some kind of picture that includes boxes, maybe pictures of audio CDs or MP3s, maybe pictures of your content playing on an iPad or an iPhone, taking it on the go, just showing that this is a significant value. It's a stack of value they're getting, and using that visual representation really hammers it home. Plus, some kind of table or dot point description just to reiterate each of the components, each of the modules, or each of the elements of the service if you're selling a service, or if it's coaching, each of the types of coachings included, and even just basic things like transcripts, or does it come in audio or video or printed handouts or CDs in the mail, whatever it is you're selling. So just be clear with what comes in the package. Step 15 now, as we get to the end of the sales page, is to talk about consequences. The consequences of actually not buying your product and not solving their problem. So a little bit of playing on their fears here. You want to basically say, are you going to be 2 months, 3 months time from now in the exact same situation you are now, suffering from this, experiencing this negative thing, still having this problem in your life? Or do you want to buy this product now, go through it, solve this problem, change your life forever, experience all these good things, not these bad things? That's the decision you face now. I guarantee you, if you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. What you want to do is take action, really put in some effort to solve your problem. So that's what you're doing now. It is as a wrap up at the end of the sales page. And of course, finally, step 16 is one big call to purchase, where again, you're telling people, click the buy button to buy this product. Often this is where you'll have a signature sign off as well. Long sales pages usually have some kind of signature at the end, just to finish off, maybe a little brief reiteration of what this product is about, saying thank you, I look forward to working with you inside the program if it's some sort of teaching program, or I look forward to hearing about your success story, whatever it is. And also, as an optional, step 17 here is to have some kind of postscript. Those are those little PSs at the end of sales pages. Often the final PS, which goes underneath the signature, is something you put there because some people, when they hit a long sales page, they scan through the whole thing and reach the bottom, the end of the page, and only read the final section. I know it's a bit bizarre, but people do that. So that's why you have a postscript. And because it can be such an important element, what you need to do there is put the biggest benefit you've got of your product. So this saying, this is how your life will change when you buy this product. And often some kind of price rationale is presented here too. This is where you'll very commonly see phrases like, this product costs as much as you spend on your daily cup of coffee. This is where you're justifying the price and showing that it's really not a big deal compared to how much value, how much your life will change if you solve this problem. And that's an important thing to have in your sales page somewhere. The price justification, the price rationale, to make it seem like a high value, low priced item. And often it's put in the postscript because, as I said, people scan to the end, they look at the price, that's really all they're there. What's the product about? How much does it cost? And if they see a price rationale, that can be enough to get them to buy, especially if they're someone who already knows you. Well, there you have it, all the points you need to cover to create your sales page. You're probably feeling a lot like this guy at this stage, exhausted and overwhelmed with what you're up against, and probably feeling a little confused because we did sort of gloss over a lot of points there. Each of those points deserved a good 10-minute presentation, but with 30 minutes to cover them all, I had to pretty much give you an introductory, a summary presentation of each of the points. What you can do now, though, is go back and re-watch this presentation, write down each of the 16 points, and then put some notes to go with the point to explain how you would answer that question, to start creating the framework to put your sales page together. So you could write about the story you're going to tell, list the people you'll get for testimonials, list the components that your product is made of, the modules or whatever is in the package, write down whatever bonuses you're going to talk about, and just start putting together a framework. Put the effort in here because, as I said at the start of this presentation, You face one of the biggest challenges we have as entrepreneurs, convincing someone to buy from you. That's why you have all these points you need to cover in order to get them to make the decision to purchase your product or service. But remember, once you've done the work, it does take a bit of work up front, but once it's complete, this sales letter will exist online and continue to deliver income, continue to produce sales for months and years to come. This is an income producing asset. And once you start getting good at this, you have 2 or 3 or 4 products online, you have these sales pages out there, you're going to have this steady income coming from your online business. And the work is done. Once the sales page is created and it's converting well enough, your job is over and you've got a selling product. And that is a pretty powerful thing. Don't forget too that the points covered in this presentation can be used for a video sales letter. So if you don't like the idea of writing out this sales page in a blog post, you can create a presentation very much like you've just watched from me, where you answer each of those 16 points in a presentation on video to sell your product and service. And that's very popular currently. You might also want to talk your presentation out. You can stand in front of a camera and speak to each of these 16 points in order to sell your product. Whatever the case, written, video, or both, you now have a framework to start producing powerful and effective sales pages. Plus, you also have access to the EJ Insider. So remember, the community is here. If you need to flesh out any of those 16 points in more detail, if you're confused by them, if you want someone to review what work you've done so far, any kind of questions you've got regarding this process, that's what I'm there for. That's what the community is there for. That's the purpose of the EJ Insider, to help you move through these big jobs and start producing income producing online assets. Start creating products and services that sell, and then you'll have a great online business. Okay, that is the end of this special presentation. I hope you got something from it. I look forward to talking about sales pages inside the community with you. Thanks for watching. My name is Yaro Starik, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.